So it appears the Democrats' pivot to voting rights legislation has come and gone. Kyrsten Sinema today on the Senate floor announced shockingly that she would not support abolishing the filibuster in order to pass legislation protecting the right to vote. Shall we have a listen?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I'm fascinated.
So the New York, this was a 20-minute speech. I actually watched like half
20
of
minutes.
It. Well, we're not going to play the whole 20 minutes, but the New York Times did a bit of a 2-minute highlight reel. So we will have a look at that right now.
I don't see what would take 20 minutes. I am the scum of the earth. I have absolutely no principles, no decency. I carry deep childhood wounds from impoverishment that now for making me lash out at the whole American public. What else is there to say?
Those are three bullet points. I mean, a skilled politician could get 20 minutes out of that.
I guess that's true.
But no, she couches it. I mean, one of the interesting things is that she couches her opposition to voting rights in rhetoric that is very familiar to the Democratic base.
Threats to American democracy are real. I share the concerns of civil rights advocates and others I've heard from in recent months about
her voice
these
is
state
fucked
laws.
up.
I strongly support.
Voice. I think she must have some of Joe Manchin's pubes stuck in the back of her throat.
Those efforts to contest these laws in court and to invest significant resources into these states to better organize and stop efforts to restrict access at the ballot box. And I strongly support and will continue to vote for legislative responses to address these state laws, including the Freedom to Vote Act and the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act that the Senate is currently considering. And while I continue to support these bills,
without suspending
I will not support separate actions that worsen the underlying
here's where she
disease.
lays that on.
And while I continue to support these bills, I will not support separate actions that worsen the underlying disease of division infecting our country. The debate over the Senate's 60-vote threshold shines a light on our broader challenges. American politics are cyclical, and the granting of power in Washington, D.C. is exchanged regularly by the voters from one party to another. This shift.
Okay, here's the astounding thing about that is that they're not.
I know, like I'm holding back because I don't want to get yelled at by the viewers.
Let the video play. Long. That's the point. Is that unless you do this, it's very likely the politics
because of
won't be cyclical
gerrymandering,
anymore.
they're not really cyclical anymore either. Like not really, not the way that they should be. The majority of voters, as fucking hapless and toxic as they are, the congressional Democratic candidates always get millions more votes than the Republicans, even while losing the House.
Right. That's why Democrats can win on the generic nationwide ballot, but still lose a lot of seats.
Yeah. So that whole cyclical thing, that's not happening. That's not actually happening. And by the time the Republicans are done with these voter restriction laws, it's never going to happen again.
Well, that's the entire point. That's why the laws are being proposed in the first place, is that they're saying, hey, this is not going to be cyclical anymore unless we act. Right. And here she comes. Like, I mean, we don't have to. She basically repeats the same thing for the next 2 minutes. We don't even have to play the rest of that. We saw everything we needed to see, and we saw enough to make the point that I want to drive home, which is that, you know, she's couching it in language that is very familiar to Democratic voters, which is, of course, I support passing these laws, but we can't do something too divisive as to abolish the filibuster, right? It's the same exact thing.
We can't violate the norms.
Of course, health care is a right, but we can't take it out of the hands of private insurers, right? Yes. Of course, education is a right, but we can't just cancel student loan debt, right? It's the same thing. And this is why I said, I wrote a piece way back that says the Democrats and Kyrsten Sinema deserve each other, because this is the exact kind of rhetoric that they salivate over in presidential primary debates. And and here it is being used against them. I mean, I think Biden's presidency has been over since BBB got watered down. But I mean, this is really just, I don't know, the third or fourth nail in the coffin that she gets to just stick right in there the day after the guy goes to Georgia. You know, if you were going to do this, you could have told him in advance you're not going to support it to save them the trip. You know how expensive it is to have an Air Force One flight chartered down to fucking Georgia? You know how risky it is to have people gathering in groups now with Omicron? They put together that whole thing yesterday. Whoever got COVID yesterday at that rally that Biden had in Georgia should be triply pissed at Kyrsten Sinema for not letting him know earlier that she wasn't going to support it.
I don't even understand the rationale. Like, I understood you get huge donations from pharma, and all of a sudden you have a different point of view about prescription drugs. I get that. That's just run-of-the-mill corruption. What? I don't even understand this. It's like she lives to just do horrible shit. What? Why?
Well, like, because if you blow up,
who is this pleasing? I mean, at that point, if you're just trying to please Republicans, just become a Republican already. Like, what are you doing? Like, just flip parties. Like, this is it's not even like the Democratic donor base wants this, because presumably they want Democrats in power because they represent their neoliberal vision of of liberal governance. So they don't want it. Like, this doesn't please anybody who's writing her checks. So who is this for? I don't understand it.
Well, is there something just
wrong with her? Is she just a sick person? Like, what's going on here?
You know, I had an idea that I'm going to pitch to the New York Times for an op-ed. Trump Sinema 2024.
Trump Sinema. There you go.
We can all come together.
A unity ticket.
A unity ticket. Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe wherever you saw it, on YouTube, on Rumble, or on Facebook. We have channels on all three of those platforms. Also, consider helping us create more content by becoming a member at patreon.com/DoDissidents, or on Facebook, where you can become a supporter right through our Facebook page and get bonus content every week, as well as call-in access to our live stream shows. Thank you very much for your continued support.